What's going on, everyone? Guess what? We're gonna do another double eye swipe. Who could have guessed it, man? Like, it's been a while since I done one of these. Just kidding, man. I dropped one of these. You know what? My whole philosophy about this whole entire life cycle of my videos is like, a lot of creators, they're like, I drop like 2 videos a week, subscribe to this channel, whatever. Dude, I drop at least like 2 videos a day, man. Now, that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. I feel like I would probably end up getting more views if I dropped less, but I just love making these videos. I just have a lot to say, so that kind of answers that huge rumor in kind of a random video. But we're gonna be taking a look at the Essential PH-1, otherwise known as the Essential 1 phone, the first Essential phone that ever came out. Now, surprisingly, there's going to be a successor to this phone coming out very soon, apparently, probably in May if I had to put my money on it. I don't know if I made an Essential Phone 2 video. I could have. I definitely did an RIP Essential Phone video, but yeah, I think I did the Essential Phone 2 video too. I can't remember. It was a couple months ago. And this phone, surprisingly, I didn't really hear too much about it from at least within the last year. So I heard about it once it came out, but then in 2018, I didn't really hear too much about it until like they were about to kill it off. And then that's when I heard a bunch of these rumors and crazy things going on. So we're going to take a look at it. We're going to see how it's been performing so far and looking at the future of it, looking behind it, all that good stuff. And what I'll tell you is that this phone, in my opinion, is built very, very well. Okay. Just looking on the outside, this phone was released in 2017, which was kind of the shift where we started seeing more bezel-less phones and like phones kind of going this bezel-less route. And the Essential Phone 1 is really kind of a strange little thing because it kind of has that bezel-less-esque design to it on the outside, but then you kind of have that teardrop notch, which I kind of like, but then you kind of have a bezel on the bottom too, which is kind of awkward. Like they should have just, you know what, I don't want to hate on it too much. I'm definitely a fan of the design. I don't hate it at all. I think it's just kind of awkward, but it is what it is. Like, I'm not too salty about it in my opinion. One interesting thing though is that because of the way the panel is set up, I think the resolution is a little awkward. So it's 1312 by 2560. So usually we have like a 1440p panel or 1080p panel. This one is 1312, so definitely higher than a 1080p, closer to a 1440p, and it has 504 pixels per inch. And specs are one thing. When I was handling this display, honestly, I don't think it's bad at all. Like, obviously it's still a very good panel. A lot of panels being released now 1440p, and this one is no exception. This one is very, very good. The only gripe is though it is IPS. I wish it was AMOLED, but in this day and age, I feel like more and more manufacturers are going to start using AMOLED, so that's a good thing. I'm praying to God every single day that they do that. I'm pretty sure the Essential Phone 2 is going to come out with an OLED display phone. I'm pretty sure the last time I read or something like that. We do have a USB Type-C port on it. We do have a headphone jack. The back is glass/ceramic. I really don't even know what the back is made out of. And we have a double sensor on the back, 2 cameras, which is cool. I'll talk about that in a second. And that's pretty much it. No removable battery, no SD card slot. So kind of minimalistic in a way, but not really at the same time. We also have a fingerprint sensor in the back too. I don't think I mentioned that, but that's pretty much it for the outside of this phone. So really not too crazy. It's kind of minimalistic in a way. So yeah, I really like the design of this phone. I think that's one of the biggest selling factors of it. That's kind of talking about the outside though. Let's go ahead and delve deep into the inside and more so software. So this thing was released with Android 7.1 Nougat, which honestly isn't even that long ago of software. This thing was released in 2017, so I'm pretty sure that was the software at the time. And now this thing is upgradable to Android Pie, otherwise known as 9.0. So that is super, super cool. I'm so glad that it got it. Unsure as of this point if it's getting Android Q. I don't know if Essential made an announcement or not. I'm going to assume, if I had to put my money on it, don't hate me if I'm wrong, I don't think it's going to get Android Q. Most phone manufacturers support their phones for like 3 years or 3 software versions of Android. So this thing got Nougat, Marshmallow, and Android Pie. Maybe it'll go further, I don't know, but if I had to put my money on it, I would have probably said no if I'm being honest, but hopefully I'm wrong. And I think there's a little bit of a root and custom ROM community behind outside of it, but as far as I know, this phone is still going to be supported up until Android Q comes out. So, I would say May-ish, June-ish, just keep it on stock, and then after that time, I'm sure more people are going to develop custom ROMs for it, so that whole marketplace is going to be much better. So yeah, I think software, you're still pretty much set for at least like 4 or 5 months now, so that's definitely a good thing. Now that's enough about the software and everything. Let's go ahead and talk about the performance of this phone, okay? Now, I'll tell you the specs and I'll kind of go delve deep in a second, but this thing has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 540 GPU, and 4 gigs of RAM. And what I can tell you is, man, this phone still performs very, very well, okay? Even though, that's probably not a surprise to most of you guys because obviously this thing isn't even that old and it's not like this is like a Galaxy S2 or something, but I think a lot of people kind of underestimated this phone in a way because maybe they looked at the specs like, oh, only an octa-core CPU, only 4 gigs of RAM, the OnePlus 6 has so much more, this and that. And yes, that is true. but I think because the software of this phone is pretty much stock, there's not a lot of crazy things going on. It doesn't have like TouchWiz or One UI or even like LG's UI. It doesn't have anything crazy with it. It's very, very minimalistic, and I think because of that, the software really plays a deal and a huge role into how performance heavy this phone is. Now, this phone is not the greatest performing phone I've ever had in my life, but really I would definitely say it's a pro. You know, whether you're multitasking, going through apps, having multiple heavy apps out in a row or whatever, you're not going to run into many problems, you know. And I didn't even find this phone heating up that much, which is surprising. Usually with a phone that I find on the cheaper category, especially with like glass on the back, I always feel these phones heating up, man. Even Samsung Galaxies, iPhones, my iPhone 10 heats up sometimes. This phone, I didn't feel that, so that's a really, really good thing. And then I'll just say overall performance, you know, guess the Google Docs, I use Google Docs a lot, Google Sheets, all those different things are very, very well on this phone. Even gaming, obviously, it's going to run perfectly fine as well. You know, Pew Pew, Temple Run, all those games, those are standard ones I usually test in every single video. I'm so bored now. I gotta do like more games. Those run perfectly fine as expected. Real Racing 3 obviously runs fine as well. And I said this in the Google Pixel video. If you guys want me to start using like a different game, a different 3D game, let me know in the comment section below. I'm really sick and tired of using Real Racing 3. I've been giving them way too much free promo. They're not even like hitting me up and like asking to sponsor videos, so I'm done with them. Totally joking. Real Racing 3 has done this channel very well. We got to do a different game now, but I'll definitely say that overall performance is still very, very good. I'm not even planning on saying anytime soon that this thing is getting slower or anything like that. Now, I feel like with custom ROMs, this thing would be a little bit faster, and I'm not even trying to say this phone is the best performing phone, but for the price this phone is, and you know, I guess it's only like 2 years old at this point, I'll say that it's a pretty decent performing phone overall. Now that's enough talking about the performance. Let's go ahead and talk about the camera. Okay, so this thing has two 13 megapixel cameras on the back, and surprisingly both sensors do have laser autofocus, which is super, super cool. And obviously this camera, I will say, is definitely on the better side of things. You know, it does take pretty decent photos. The camera app itself does have a lot of settings within it, so that's super, super cool. Not as much I would say as like maybe like older LG phones or Samsung phones, but still enough to kind of get you through your day. I think it might have more than Google Pixel's camera app, but I could be wrong. They're definitely around the same boat, and I think the photos that this thing takes are super good. I don't have any problems with them really. And again, I want to reiterate, I'm not like a huge photographer. I take very standard photos, as you can see, but I just look at the sensor and I look at the camera. I'm like, man, is it a good camera? Is it not? And I can tell you this one is definitely on the better side of things. And it's definitely a pro. You can shoot 4K videos on it. You can shoot 1080p at up to 60 frames. So that's super, super cool. The front camera is 8 megapixels and you can shoot 2160p videos on that, which is surprising. So you can shoot 4K videos on the front camera, which is super surprising. Usually a lot of cameras tap out of like 1440p or even like 1080p. But this one goes all the way up to 4K, which is surprising. So yeah, like overall, this camera sensor is very, very good for the price and for the age that it is. I wouldn't say it's better than like an iPhone 10 or better than a Samsung Galaxy S9 or S10 that's coming out very soon. I'm not going to say it's better than those, but I'll definitely say it's probably like an 8 out of 10. Again, factoring in the price and the age, it's not that bad of a camera at all, and it's definitely a pro. Now, the battery life is one of those things that kind of rubs me the wrong way, and I feel like this phone could have been so much better. And you know what? It's kind of weird because this thing has a 3040 mAh battery, and that in and of itself might be like a huge factor as to why it isn't that good or why it's average, but I think it also has a lot to do with just like the overall phone itself. I mean, this thing has a pretty big screen, its resolution pretty high PPI. It's not the heaviest performing phone, but it's definitely up there. And I think with a phone this size, you know, this phone isn't even that small, it's pretty big. This phone should have at least had like a 4000 mAh battery, at least a 3500 mAh battery. That would have made it just a little bit better. If I took my daily usage on my iPhone 10 and put it on the Essential phone, I would probably have to charge it before the end of the day. Luckily, this thing does have a USB Type-C, so if you're using like any type of USB Type-C phone or whatever, just you can use the same port. I think everything's going to USB Type-C now. USB Type-C, but I think overall this phone could have been better on the battery life. Hopefully with the Essential phone too, they kind of, you know, knock that down a little bit and make it a little bit bigger. Of course, software plays a pretty decent role in it too, but I do think at the end of the day, the bigger the battery, the harder you bowl. So hopefully Essential can go develop a bigger battery on the Essential phone too. So that pretty much wraps up the exterior, the interior, all that stuff, everything about the phone, how it's held up so far. You know, I guess some other notable things to note. I really, really like the design of this phone. It's super, super cool. You also have the fingerprint sensor on the back. I said this earlier, but I feel like that's super, super cool. I really hope a lot of phone manufacturers don't remove the fingerprint sensor or bring it back. This phone does have it, and it also has like the bezel-esque design, so that's super, super cool. This phone really looks unique, so if you're balling out and you're bringing this phone with you, you're trying to impress your girl or your guy, whatever, they're going to look at this phone and be like, man, what are those? They're going to be like, what is that? That's crazy. God, I'm so corny. And I think overall, man, is the Essential phone still worth it in 2019? I'll say, dude, 100%. This is still a solid phone. I don't know of any like crazy like hardware defects that this phone is going through. I don't know know anything crazy like that. What I do know is that this phone is still selling for fairly cheap. You know, obviously eBay, Craigslist, whatever has the cheapest prices, but I've seen a lot of these go for very, very cheap on Amazon, and that's a very, very good place to get them because I always try to link everything through Amazon so we can help the channel at the same time. But also, I think Amazon is still selling these like brand new. I think at a certain point they were running a deal. I'm unsure as of this point, but I'm pretty sure they're still available on Amazon brand new. If not, certified refurbished is the way to go. And Amazon sells those too, and they're super, super cheap. So I'll link the first links in the description will be a link to Amazon.com, and it'll take you to the essential phone lineup, all the essential phones they have on certified refurbished, or just probably the cheapest one I find. Make sure to buy it through that link so you can help the channel out so we can do more videos like this and do more giveaways and things like that. That'll mean so much. But man, that's pretty much it, man. That's my opinion on the essential phone. Let me know what you guys think though. Do you think the essential phone is better than any other phone out there with the price tag right now? Maybe I think the Google Pixel might be in the same category as this, but I'll probably have to do a comparison for that. But hit that like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button, that'll mean even more. I plan on doing a giveaway very, very soon, my 100K giveaway. If you saw my tweet though, I'm waiting for someone to make a song about me, not even just, they can't just write it to me, they have to actually sing it or rap it or whatever. You have to send it to me or post on YouTube or something, and then I will make the video for the iPhone giveaway. So that's coming very soon. Whenever somebody makes a song, I'll go ahead and post that giveaway video. But yeah, check out the links in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I would really appreciate if you guys check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys, and hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.